On YouTube, working upside DIY. So I've got this bucket and another bucket, but mainly just showing off the silicone, the bottom, and also on the inside, maybe on the seam. So I just stocked up on some water-based silicone. Some of it is so I got kind of like a little small workstation. I'm drawing a few rags, which are pretty much socks. So on there, yeah, just a pile of, just stuff that I was using to clean and rags and stuff. But this silicone right here, I wasted 2 tubes. So in pretty much April, I lost probably $20 with ordering some, or not ordering, but by purchase. They didn't give me coupon deals, and then I lost $10. This silicone is supposed to pretty much good for glass. Like somewhere around here, it tells you apply um, used for down here top sealing a glazy. So it's still really good silicone. It's just also not water soluble, so it doesn't dilute in water. I'm going to actually dilute some water in this video, but before that is kind of a glue bucket part two. So I've got a cleaning bucket. I'm kind of cleaning some denim fabric, so that's and both these have lids, and then I basically have some old glue, so I put the silicone in. So this is kind of like my glue bucket, and then today I'm just checking to see if the lacquer thinner dissolved the silicone, and it didn't. So my next resort is practically to heat uh, you know set up my butane stoves and things like that, or maybe warm up a small piece inside of my kitchen, which I'm probably going to do first off. And then maybe I could recycle pretty much, or recover actually a couple of tubes of silicone, and pretty much so that's the glues that I have in there. I have pretty much paint thinner. I got some of the solvents, I guess, a little bit more paint thinner, and this is kind of like the acetone, and where I clean off any popsicle sticks or whatnot, and even the epoxy, recycling the epoxy. There's some wrappers in there, and the acetone actually removes any of the epoxy. I could probably use this as filler. Same thing with the rest of the stuff in the clear. I should have still had the clear silicone. So I'm just going to kind of walk through. I've got different jars with different, mainly the silicone. This jar is mineral spirits. I'm going to pour in some mineral spirits. So this is mineral spirits. It's actually pretty much a lot. And then I've got the silicone in this jar. So it's kind of the glue bucket, and I've got to get a piece of the silicone, and I want to test before I buy another bottle of mineral spirits. And I could really, it has broke off a piece of it, and now I'm just throwing it into the mineral spirits and basically cover the jar back up. Gotta really stay clean from the stuff. Sure, and see what it does. Maybe the it's supposed to soften up. I actually add some more, few larger pieces. I'm just hoping this starts to, but I'm gonna probably have to use a lid for this bucket and things. At least I'm at this point, and it turns back into like a gel and things, and then I could kind of work with it on random gaskets or sealing things, or some type of just. But if so, it's kind of the next day. Um, it's still not dissolved. It should have been dissolved and stuff. So I'm still Until I could really be sure. I also use mineral spirits for some other glue that's in the bucket. Um, uh, Situations, but this is the clean jar, and I'm basically going to dump whatever's in here, this mineral spirits. All right, so I've got most of the stuff poured out, and then I could close this up, that one up, and then I could add, and then I'm going to add lacquer thinner into this, and hopefully it's going to start dissolving. So I tried mineral spirits for probably a week or two, and it didn't work. So all right, so I added some lacquer thinner into this. I don't think it's going to work for the one I read online or on Google, and um, it it's really hard to, when silicone or glue is cured, it's really hard to dissolve it unless you the last resort is heating it up. Might And then right after heating up, um, going into a project, a molding project, maybe use it for tires or some type of patch or something. Maybe some glue. I haven't tried heating it up, but that's the last thing that eventually I'm going to basically have this to experiment. As I mentioned, I think this is good for like rubber tires, for stuff that I'm kind of doing. To use, storing, cleanup, use for top sealing and glazing. So I'm back trying to make this dental mold. So to walk through a few things, I added some more support at the bottom with duct tape, like 3 pieces. I wrapped it upwards, but I really wanted to make sure it was supported. That's when I knew that, well, when things were just really soft, I mixed pretty much some of the Be Satisfied into removing the rest of it. But for now, and also like even on the sides and edges, I don't really have a really good plan just yet, besides when all the tape gets removed. But I'm hoping this makes a lot more of a firmer situation. So I'll try to spread that evenly and let it dry. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Alright, so I just kind of have something that might work. So just trying to spread this evenly, but it's basically, I think it's going to work, just because it's going to harden up in a couple of days, and I could really start peeling off the tape. So, but it doesn't really, like some of the other molds that I've been making. So most of these, I think I use liquid nail for this one, but on some of these I used, but I didn't mix any of the wax. So maybe mixing the wax in there. But just I've got to start all over or keep going on and testing what's happening. And then I've got some more items, like some more crowns and things that it's kind of sort out from the small, medium, and there's supposed to be one more. Well, I think I bought 2 boxes, but there's supposed to be another small blue box with the front. I might have put it away into one of these boxes, or even so. Actually, there's actually 4 boxes, and one of them is for the front teeth and things. I've got other items, or false teeth. So while doing the research, at least there's these items, which I mean, there are items and even the dental guards. I put them all, just extra items and stuff. And even these smaller pieces might go into all into one to fall apart. So I got some duct tape, and so I guess I'm starting it off this way. I've got to trim off or cut corners so I could fold it, and then I'm gonna just try to wrap some more of this mold so it's not all the way covering just the whole part and open up the bottom parts. So I'm gonna just find and just remove the whatever I put in there. So I was planning to unwrap everything and then just expose the whole mold, but I think this is going to be a lot safer so I don't ruin too much. Alright, so I made a small hole in here. I think I am going for, at this point, I could kind of leave it to help it dry up for a day or two, but I would just try to remove as much as I can for the camera. So I cut off a piece of the tape. So I'm going to just try to reveal just everything underneath, and I'll be able to press it in, or into the mold. So alright, so here's another piece of the tape. And being taped up, the glue didn't have a real good situation. It's still wet in some places. So just keeping that in mind and stuff when dealing with epoxy or just any you know things that sometimes people use pressure chambers, vacuum, things like that, and also a hair heat gun or a hair dryer. So for the most part, it does, making sure everything is dried up and given, certain. So I took off this mold. So there was a piece of plastic that I didn't fully take off on the imprint. So this is still pretty intact, but the plastic transferred. Uh, right here, I was hoping to have a lot of these front teeth and just a lot, but just the main denture plate area is pretty decent for whatever I did. It's just some of the teeth and things. May this may I could let this dry a little longer. There's a few things. It was supposed to basically have where the teeth are, and I don't really see that. It might be like right there, where the teeth are, and then missing teeth, and then where the teeth are is actually like right here. A lot, like a quarter of an inch towards the front is mainly the guard, the outside layer. So it technically, if how I position this is actually this side. So it got both of these. So right there where that gap is, it did mold that. And then on this side, some of the back molars. Um, this took pretty much like a month and a half to actually dry and all that stuff. Um, so I just used epoxy somehow, 5-minute epoxy, just layered it on. Didn't have to tape and do things. I'm gonna probably uh, you know, once things get hardened up to a certain point, I'm probably going to keep this, clean it up a little bit, but I might try an epoxy. I might even add some side barrier and things like that.